Click your heels 3 times together and say, "There's no place like home." I know these aren't the Ruby slippers, but they're the closest I have. You might know that quote, but do you know who says that? If you said Dorothy, you would have been correct. Do you know who plays Dorothy? And about her life, if you said Judy Garland, you also would have been correct. Judy Garland starred in The Wizard of Oz, and I'm going to tell you more about her and her life. She started her career very early, and I got my facts from www.judygarlandmuseum.com. She was born Frances Ethel Gum and then later changed her name to Judy Garland for reasons that I don't want to get into in this video because they're long. She started acting when she was 2.5 years old at her parents' theater in Minnesota. When she was 4, her and her family moved to California, and then her and her sisters made hundreds of stage appearances and local radio appearances up and down the West Coast and East Coast, as far as Detroit, for the next several years after they moved. She also struggled with drugs after she started performing a lot. I got this source from www.biography.com. Her mother was the first person to give her drugs, and she was about 10 when this happened. My next facts I got from www.fascinate.com. Judy says she was often prescribed amphetamines to make her peppy and so she could work longer hours for the studios and keep up with the fast-paced movie making. She was prescribed barbiturates to sleep, and she said because of this it led to her long life addiction. She died at the age of 47 from a drug overdose and was found by her then husband, Mickey Deans. She was married 5 times and had 3 kids. She would have had 4 kids, but in her first marriage, she was forced to have an abortion by her husband, her mother, and MGM Studios. Oh, sorry. One of her most famous roles, The Wizard of Oz. I got my sources from www.guff.com. She was the second choice. The first choice was Shirley Temple, but there were scheduling issues for that. She was put on a strict diet because they thought she was fat, when in reality she was just short, and it just made her appear larger than her taller co-workers. She had to wear prosthetic teeth and nose because they didn't like how she looked and they didn't think she was pretty enough. 40-plus-year-old munchkins used to put their hands up her dress when she was underage, which equals sexual harassment, and no one did anything about that. She was paid way under than any of her co-workers. She got paid $500 per week, while her co-worker got paid around $5,000. And one time when she was laughing with a co-worker before they were shooting the scene, she was slapped, and then she had to immediately go back to shooting the scene. So to wrap it up, she struggled with drugs and started her career very early, which led to some of her drug addictions. She also struggled with family and marriages. Her first role was also her most famous, but one of her most cruel, and that is Judy Garland.